I have been reborn 33 times, and in each life, I have strived to win the crown prince's heart. Yet, he always falls in love with the courtesan Mu Tingting and dies in the palace coup orchestrated by the seventh prince. The seventh prince is inherently cold-blooded, having killed his own father and brothers to seize the throne. In this life, I risked my life to save the crown prince, but the first words he said to me were, "Where is my Tingting?" My heart was filled with sorrow. And before I could even cry over my unrequited love, the seventh prince shouted at me in grief and fury, 33 lifetimes, I have been reborn with you 33 times, and you still haven't won him over. My intolerance for foolishness is about to flare up. Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now the story begins. I was stunned. I whispered to the ruthless living king of hell before me, You're a reincarnator too. The blade of the seventh prince, Zhao Baiqing, pressed against my forehead. Fool, I've been reborn with you 33 damn times. I looked around in a daze, glancing at the crown prince in my arms, then at the emperor, eunuchs, and palace maids who had already become corpses around me. What about them? Zhao Baiqing instantly understood what I wanted to ask and interrupted me harshly. They are not, only you and I, the emperor, are reborn time and time again. Reborn? What is being reborn? The crown prince struggled to sit up, supporting himself with his arms. Zhao Baiqing knocked him out with the hilt of his sword. I didn't dare to breathe too loudly, only hearing Zhao Baiqing say to me sharply, "Heaven must be blind to tie your fate to mine. Only when both your goal and mine are achieved can time move forward. Otherwise, we'll be forced to relive our lives from the age of 20, again and again." I vaguely guessed that his goal was to ascend the throne, while mine was to fall in love with the crown prince. He was clever and ruthless, capable of achieving his goal in the very first lifetime, and I was too clumsy, having tried 33 times and still couldn't win the prince's heart. I'm sorry, I scratched my head. What good is sorry? Zhao Baiqing's thick eyebrows furrowed deeply. In this life, I won't kill him. I will arrange a marriage for the two of you, and you must make him fall in love with you. As soon as he finished speaking, the prince suddenly opened his eyes, drew a dagger across his own neck, and then slashed my wrist. I do not love her. I would rather die than yield, he declared with righteous indignation, pulling me along to face death together. Rapid blood loss gradually clouded my mind, and I only faintly heard Zhao Baiqing's cries. Come find me immediately in your next rebirth. I will teach you how to pursue a man. Remember this. I was reborn again at the age of 20. My parents are alive. And my sister is also living. These are the happiest days of my life. Last month, I was chosen to be the princess's study companion. Although I am quite old and not very bright, I excel at making ink. I can make both pine soot ink and oil soot ink. The ink is deep and charming in color, jet black on paper without smudging, and it emits a long-lasting fragrance that lingers on the fingertips for 3 days without fading. Princess Yunfang was very fond of this scent and specifically requested me to be her study companion so I could make ink for her every day. I thought it was just fine. After all, I was too dull-witted to marry well, and this gave me an excuse to still be unmarried at 20 without any matchmaking efforts. Hey, silly, what are you thinking about? Princess Yunfang poked my cheek with her pen. I slowly looked up. Your Highness, my name isn't silly, it's He Xiaoyuan. She pursed her lips into a smile. All right, silly, today, I still need you to help me. Give this to him. She stuffed the love letter into my sleeve. Just as in the past 33 lifetimes, she had a fondness for Fu Yang, the second son of the left Vice Minister of Rights. He was truly a handsome young man. Unfortunately, he was Zhao Baiqing's study companion. I was terribly afraid of them. Take it. I tremblingly handed the letter to Fu Yang, then turned and ran. Fu Yang grabbed the back of my collar. The seventh prince wants to see you. What was bound to come has finally come. He brought me to the green banquet palace where Zhao Baiqing resided. In the dimly lit room, Zhao Baiqing was leisurely arranging the chess pieces. Hearing my arrival, he lazily lifted his eyelids and cast a casual glance at me. "I told you to come find me immediately after your rebirth. Why didn't you come?" I racked my brains for an excuse. "I think your highness should look for other reborn individuals. I'm too foolish. I simply can't win the crown prince's favor. This time, I've already decided to give up." With a loud crash, Zhao Baiqing overturned the chessboard, scattering black and white pieces all over the floor. He grabbed my chin and forced me to look up, his eyes fierce and menacing. "Why won't you listen? How many times do I have to say it? In this lifetime, you must make Zhao Junyao fall in love with you. Zhao Junyao is the crown prince, the one I love." I was so frightened that I froze, not daring to move a muscle. Like a stunned goose, Zhao Baiqing's anger flared even more intensely. "Look at your foolish appearance. Do you think if I had a choice, I would choose you? In the previous 33 lifetimes, I tested everyone, and you were the only one who was a reborn soul. I took your birth details to the imperial astrologer for verification, and he said what?" I asked softly. Pressing for an answer, Zhao Baiqing seemed to recall something extremely unpleasant. He flicked his sleeve, stood up, and turned his back to me. "Heaven's secrets cannot be revealed. In any case, our fates are already bound together. We must advance and retreat as one." I couldn't hold back my tears. Why was I so unlucky to be tied to such a king of hell? Zhao Baiqing continued to berate me with a mix of threats and intimidation, warning that if I didn't obey, he would make my parents and older sister suffer. "They already have consumption and are bound to die young. I'm sure you wouldn't want their lives cut even shorter because of a foolish daughter like you." Seeing that I had already submitted completely, Zhao Baiqing leisurely settled into the reclining chair, rocked it a few times, and beckoned toward the floor with a finger. "Pick up the chess pieces." I crouched down, picking up the lustrous black and white jade chess pieces one by one. As large teardrops fell heavily to the ground, deep down, I never truly wished to catch the crown prince's favor. It was the same in every lifetime. Even someone as foolish as I had figured out the pattern. As long as the crown prince rejected me, I could be reborn again and again, seeing my parents and elder sister anew each time. I wanted to drown forever in those moments when they were by my side. My father was a minor 6th-rank official in the capital. When I was about 3 or 4 years old, he offended a powerful figure by saying the wrong thing and was demoted to the miasma-ridden lands of Lingnan, moving the entire family there. Because I was young and frail, I remained in the capital, living with my aunt. Over the next decade, my father worked diligently for the people and achieved good governance in Lingnan. But his health grew increasingly worse. My mother and elder sister are the same. They both inhaled too much mountain mist and miasma, suffering from severe malarial fever that gradually turned into consumption. This illness has no cure, and they can only endure it slowly, until their lamp of life burns out. In the previous 33 lifetimes, I traveled far and wide seeking medical help and remedies, trying every method, but I couldn't keep them. They passed away one after another when I was 25. In this lifetime, I haven't given up. I often go to the port to ask ship crews to help me find medicine overseas. Before I knew it, the Mid-Autumn Festival had arrived. I had to enter the palace again to serve as a study companion, and I couldn't help but feel terrified, afraid of being captured by Zhao Baiqing's people in the palace. But there was simply no escape. Fu Yang walked over with an air of grace and charm, cracking a few jokes that made Princess Yunfang beam with delight. Then he suddenly shifted the conversation and pointed at me. The 7th prince was quite delighted after smelling the inkstick made by this young lady. "Miss He, last time, coincidentally, the 7th prince has a calligraphy lesson today. I wonder if Her Highness the Princess would be willing to lend her to us for a while." Princess Yunfang, who admired Fu Yang, was completely obedient to him and hastily sent me off with them. I wanted to refuse, but she immediately shot me a sharp glare. Dai is the most obedient, you mustn't disappoint me, and so, I fell into Zhao Baiqing's hands once again. Inside Qingyang Palace, he was practicing running cursive script and didn't even look up when he heard me arrive, speaking in a deep voice. Tell me what you've been up to lately. At first, I stumbled over my words, extremely nervous, but seeing him still writing with effortless grace, his pen tip dancing like a swimming dragon, as if he hadn't been paying attention to what I was saying, I gradually felt relieved. I told him I had gone to Tianjin port and found a kind boatman who was willing to ask around for medicine to treat tuberculosis when the fleet passed by Japan and Korea. I also mentioned that I had newly blended pear-scented ink, successfully grown an orange tree in my courtyard, and picked up a stray cat. But since someone in my family had a lung condition and couldn't stand cat fur, I gave it to the chubby kid next door. Zhao Baiqing suddenly said, Enough, these are all trivial matters. Haven't you made any effort at all to seduce the crown prince? I trembled with fear and tried to lie. Yes. I've learned a little bit about makeup. In truth, I hadn't at all. I'm all thumbs and, despite having lived over 30 lifetimes, I still haven't managed to learn how to apply makeup. Zhao Baiqing stared at me coldly. Good, show me now. He ordered someone to bring a full set of cosmetics from the Imperial Beauty Palace: rouge, face powder, lip color, eyebrow pencils, spiral eyebrow pigment, an overwhelming variety, dazzling to the eyes. I was trembling, not knowing how to cover up my lie. Zhao Baiqing sat leisurely beside me, clearly waiting for me to make a fool of myself. The more nervous I got, the more I couldn't stop my tears. I forgot how to put on makeup, I'm sorry. Zhao Baiqing rubbed his temples, seemingly exasperated by me. Zhao Junyao likes beautiful women. You're not that attractive to begin with, and now you can't even do your makeup. How do you expect to catch his attention? I know he was right. I am not ugly, with rather delicate features. But I am far less beautiful than the courtesan Mu Tingting. With 3,000 beauties in the harem, the crown prince, having grown up surrounded by stunning women, would certainly not be attracted to me. Zhao Baiqing found matrons and palace maids to teach me how to apply makeup, but no matter how he changed it, Zhao Baiqing was never satisfied. Why did you paint her lips so red? It looks like she's eaten a dead child. Her skin is already pale enough. If you add another layer of powder, who could tell her apart from a whitewashed wall? And those eyebrows, you drew them too thin at first, and now they're too thick. He snatched the eyebrow pencil from the nanny, ready to do it himself. I refuse to believe drawing eyebrows is that difficult. Could it be harder than governing a country? He then cupped my face and began to outline my left eyebrow. I was so frightened that I immediately closed my eyes. I don't know how long it had been when he suddenly threw down the eyebrow pencil. What is this? Damn it. It's so hard. In the mirror, my left eyebrow was a complete mess, so ugly that I felt like crying, but I didn't dare cry, afraid of being scolded by Zhao Baiqing. He stared at my eyebrows impatiently and said, Nanny, take her to wash her face. Fu Yang, you take someone to buy a few beauty illustration books from outside the palace. Zhao Baiqing was a serious person by nature and didn't believe there was anything in the world he couldn't accomplish. He studied the eyebrows in the beauty illustrations as if he were studying strategies for governing the country: misty brows, willow leaf brows, distant mountain brows. While he was flipping through the illustration books over there, I could only wait by the side. My stomach was so hungry, it had already rumbled several times. I felt increasingly wronged. I wanted to go home. I wanted to eat. I wanted to brew some Sichuan fritillary and loquat syrup to moisten my lungs. In the twilight, Zhao Baiqing finally cupped my face again, carefully tracing my eyebrows against the soft purple glow of the evening sky outside the window. At this moment, the fierce aura about him seemed to have completely faded away, his phoenix eyes clear and focused. I couldn't help but recall that untimely line of poetry, leaning close, I play with the brush, trying my hand at tracing blossoms for the first time, asking if the depth of my painted brows is in fashion. And I also remembered the rumors from the 33 lifetimes before. It is said that Mu Tingting did not love the crown prince, she deeply loved Zhao Baiqing, however. Zhao Baiqing cared not for beauty but only for power. He used Mu Tingting as a pawn, instructing her to infiltrate the crown prince's side as a spy, sending him various pieces of intelligence. Once he had firmly secured the throne, he immediately ordered Mu Tingting to be put to death. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but shudder. Zhao Baiqing frowned slightly and coaxed me in a very soft voice. "Be good, don't move, we're almost done." His unexpected gentleness left me frozen stiff. A moment later, he laughed, stepping back a few paces to look me over from left to right, seemingly quite satisfied. "Perfect, just like this. Tonight, I'll take you to meet Zhao Junyao." Curious, I glanced into the mirror and was startled to meet a pair of exquisitely beautiful eyes. The delicate willow leaf eyebrows were especially charming, with a small mole at the end of one brow adding a vivid, captivating touch, truly the finishing stroke. Zhao Baiqing stood behind me, his gaze meeting mine in the mirror, his cool, stern features softened slightly with a smile. "How about it?" he dullered. "My skills are quite impressive, aren't they?" Crown Prince Zhao Junyao was a famously handsome man in the capital, at the Mid-Autumn Festival night banquet. He wore a moon-white dragon robe, exuding an elegant and noble aura, with an incomparably handsome face. Every time I saw him, my heart would flutter, but I would also feel ashamed of my own inadequacy. Not daring to approach him, Zhao Baiqing secretly pressed a folding fan against my waist, forcing me to step forward and speak with the Crown Prince. Before I could even open my mouth, the Crown Prince smiled first, his peach blossom eyes shining like spring water reflecting a sky full of stars. "He Xiao Yuan, you look so beautiful today. I almost didn't recognize you." Zhao Baiqing seized the moment to interject, lavishly praising my ink-making skills, extolling me as if I were a rare treasure unmatched in heaven or on earth. My face flushed crimson with shame, because this was the only skill I had to show for myself. Our He family was originally a lineage of ink makers, but after father passed the imperial examinations and became an official, the tradition was broken. Ironically, it was I, the most clumsy daughter, who picked up a smattering of the craft. The Crown Prince, gentle and kind-hearted, trusted Zhao Baiqing's words implicitly and looked at me with admiration in his eyes. He smiled and asked, "I wonder if Miss He would do me the honor. Would you come to the Eastern Palace and make a few sticks of ink for me?" I was both surprised and delighted, never expecting that beauty and sweet words could have such a powerful effect, making the Crown Prince, who had ignored me for 33 lifetimes, take an interest in me. Such an honor brought me a great deal of envy and resentment. There were too many women who admired the Crown Prince, such as Yu Feilin, the granddaughter of the Grand Academician of the Hanlin Academy. She was both talented and beautiful, and was originally the designated Crown Princess. But 3 years ago, the Empress passed away, and the Crown Prince went into mourning, suspending the selection of the Crown Princess. She loved him deeply and had been waiting in her chambers all these years, remaining highly vigilant toward every new face that appeared around him. One day, Princess Yunfang said, "You'd better not disappoint me. If you're here as a study companion, then just focus on that role, don't even think about flirting around." Even if I were foolish, I would understand that someone had been speaking ill of me in front of her. Yu Feilin and she had a good relationship. One was the legitimate daughter of a noble family, the other a royal princess, while I was just the daughter of a minor official. These golden branches and jade leaves were polite to me on the surface, but in their hearts, they looked down on me. Ever since they found out the Crown Prince had shown me favor, Yu Feilin frequently made things difficult for me, deliberately trying to embarrass me. One day she would ask me to write poetry. The next day to paint. If I didn't do well, she would gather everyone in the palace to come and laugh at me. Zhao Baiqing scolded me for being foolish upon hearing it. Are you dead? If she's giving you a hard time, why don't you fight back? I didn't want to fight back. I didn't want to. My mild-tempered nature made it difficult for me to compete for favor. Moreover, I could understand Yu Feilin. Her love for the crown prince ran deeper than mine. She had waited for him for many years. Yet she couldn't win his affection, just like me. Why torment each other so harshly? In this life, the crown prince has yet to meet Mu Tingting. If they were to meet, he would undoubtedly fall in love with her. Facing the stern and imposing Zhao Baiqing, I retrieved a prototype inkstick from my sleeve. This is my most satisfying work in recent days, named Orange Chant. I humbly request that Your Highness, the seventh prince, accept it. Orange Chant took me half a month to perfect. Crafted from aged pine soot, elk glue, orange and tangerine peels, and brewed with melted snow water, in the heat of midsummer, its fragrance is refreshing and delightful, and when written on paper, every character carries the soul of an orange. Zhao Baiqing sneered, weighing my Chengyan inkstick in his hand. You're trying to bribe a prince with this. Which prince could withstand such a bribe? He tossed the Chengyan into a corner with a flick of his hand. Answer me. Why do you always put on such a weak, easily bullied appearance? I bit my lip, fighting back the urge to cry, and struggled to fabricate a lie. It's because the crown prince dislikes women who are jealous and quarrelsome. Zhao Baiqing's expression softened slightly, his voice gentling. That's true. Zhao Junyao is a natural romantic, considering Mu Tingting the love of his life. That Mu Tingting is cunning. She never shows jealousy openly but excels at scheming in the shadows. I couldn't help but think to myself that he understood Mu Tingting so well because he was the same kind of person as her. Zhao Baiqing suddenly raised his voice. What kind of expression is that on your face? Ah, I snapped back to reality and tried to come up with another lie, but he angrily said, still thinking of lying, under his clear and sharp gaze. I had nowhere to hide, trembling with fear. I had no choice but to tell him the rumor about my past 33 lifetimes. What? Zhao Baiqing was so angry he laughed. I used Mu Tingting. Ridiculous. Do I need to use a weak woman to achieve my ambitions? Do you really look down on me that much? According to him, whether in his previous life or the one before that, he and Mu Tingting had never known each other. But in this life, it's necessary to get to know her. Whatever she can do, you must learn. You need to take her place and win Zhao Juanyao's love. Zhao Baiqing personally went to the brothel to show his support for Mu Tingting. He went twice and wrote a lengthy booklet describing the courtesan's virtues. He summarized it concisely, saying, Mu Tingting excels at dancing and playing the guqin, and her taste in clothing is exceptional. As for her face, well, after you put on makeup, you look about the same as her. My peaceful days were over. I spent less and less time with my family, as Zhao Baiqing frequently summoned me to the palace under the pretext of requesting my ink-making services. In the Qingyang Palace, dancing performers and guqin masters took turns giving me lessons. I had no confidence at all because I was truly clumsy, and I felt I couldn't learn it. You can do it. You must learn it. Zhao Baiqing watched me constantly. Every time I missed a beat even slightly, he would look at me before the masters did, his dark eyes like ice-soaked pools emitting a chilling cold. Hey Xiao Yuan, no daydreaming. I didn't dare complain, but mustered up the courage to ask, Your Highness, with your busy schedule managing state affairs, why bother looking after me all the time? What I really meant was, get lost already. Go focus on your grand ambitions and stop tormenting me. Zhao Baiqing sneered and said in a voice only the two of us could hear. I've been reborn 33 times, seized power 33 times. In this lifetime, I could ascend the throne with my eyes closed. Now my mission is to mold you into the woman Zhao Junyao loves most. He's really too smart, Just by watching me learn, he can pick it up. Before I could even distinguish the 5 notes of the pentatonic scale, he was already able to play high mountains, flowing water, and Guangling melody fluently. Later, he simply dismissed the Guqin master and took it upon himself to teach me. I have to admit, Zhao Buqing really has some skills. He excels at distilling the key points and can quickly identify my weaknesses in just a few moves. The same goes for dancing. I just couldn't learn the Hu Xian dance no matter how hard I tried. Zhao Buqing learned it first and then taught me step by step. First beat, step back with your right foot. Second beat, step forward with your left foot. Third beat, spin. He Xiao Yuan, you stepped on my foot again. I was too nervous, always fumbling around, and accidentally stepped on Zhao Buqing's foot. He was so exasperated by my stepping on him that he said, all right, just take off your shoes and step on my feet. I'll guide you to feel the rhythm. How can this be? I dare not overstep the bounds of propriety. I refused. Men and women should not touch when giving or receiving things, let alone when he is a noble prince. Stop the nonsense. Zhao Buqing said impatiently, forcibly pressing me down on the chaise lounge and taking off my embroidered shoes. I was both anxious and angry, struggling so violently that my right sock accidentally flew off and hit Zhao Buqing in the face. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I was so frightened I was about to cry. He flew into a rage, pointing at the tip of my nose and ordering, don't you dare cry. I quickly held back my tears. The hujia and konghu instruments began to play once more, accompanied by the actors' drumbeats, filling the room with a magnificent and enchanting atmosphere. Zhao Buqing held my waist and took my hand. Get up, let's keep practicing. Carefully, I extended my right foot in white socks and my bare left foot, stepping onto his black soap boots. 3-2-1, 3-2-1, Zhao Buqing counted the beat, leading me to spin and dance. Golden sunlight filtered through the latticed windows, while bees and butterflies fluttered among the hibiscus bushes outside. The skirt flared open, then suddenly tightened. Zhao Buqing led me to a dim corner, where the iron gleam on his ebony weapon rack shimmered like flowing water, condensing a cold, solemn aura of killing intent. I closed my eyes and felt the light and shadow dancing on my eyelids, as if we had moved from the weapon room to a study. With the faint, elusive scent of ink, I thought of my home, filled with the fragrance of ink, and of my father, my mother, and my elder sister. Even if I could return home tonight, I still miss them immensely. I desperately wish life could forever remain in the days when they were by my side. At this moment, I have confirmed my feelings. I do not want to win the Crown Prince's love. Open your eyes and look at me, Zhao Buqing suddenly said. I trembled as I opened my eyes, and a tear inadvertently slipped from the corner, landing on his deep purple dragon robe. He sighed softly, turned and stopped before the beauty couch, crouched down, and put socks and embroidered shoes on me. I shyly shrank back repeatedly. He broke the awkward atmosphere with a single sentence. What is embroidered on these shoes of yours? Ducks? No, I embroidered these mandarin ducks myself. Zhao Buqing sneered. They're truly hideous. He die, your taste is really poor. He began taking me to select clothing and jewelry in the silk shop. The assistant compared hundreds of different colors against me one by one. Zhao Buqing sat behind the beaded curtain making decisions. I want this one, not this one. Peach pink is too tacky. Purplish red makes one look old. Do you have a lighter purple, something similar to lilac? He was extremely intelligent, but also incredibly stubborn and self-willed, not trusting the tailor's aesthetic sense. He personally learned pattern drawing and designed new clothes for me himself. I was like his doll. He took endless pleasure in decorating me, understanding my features better than I did myself. Your neck is long and your waist is slender. These advantages should be highlighted in the tailoring. The waist must have darts, and the neckline should have more decorative designs. I wanted to cry but had no tears left. While he designed my clothes, He forced me to stay by his side and continue practicing the qin. If I played a wrong note, he would immediately turn his head and glare at me. Under his close supervision, I finally managed to learn a few pieces on the guqin and also learned how to dance the Hu Xian dance. On the day we were making ink for the Crown Prince, Zhao Buqing repeatedly instructed me on what to wear, what to play, and what to say. He strives for perfection, forcing me to rehearse over and over again. I responded with vague murmurs to his instructions, secretly deciding to do the exact opposite of everything he said. I will remain ordinary, continue to be inconspicuous, and make the Crown Prince lose all interest in me, because I want to live forever in the cycle of rebirth. I long for the days spent with my parents and elder sister. But Zhao Buqing saw through my thoughts. He pulled me into his carriage on the way to the palace. "What are you wearing? It's dull and ugly. Didn't I tell you to wear that lake blue brocade gown?" I trembled with fear, unsure how to lie. "Speak." Zhao Buqing's veins bulged on his forehead. "Why won't you listen? Why must you trap me in this timeline? You're preventing me from ever reaching the day of my coronation. So many of my grand ambitions remain unfulfilled. For the first time in my life, I tried to speak my mind. But why? Why must I be the one to accommodate you? Your Highness, you are ambitious. You crave the world. I only wish for a simple, uneventful life. I want to be with my family. I don't think my desires are any less worthy than yours. In this lifetime, I still want to live according to my own will." Zhao Buqing's eyes sharpened like blades as he leaned in and said, word by word, "Because I do not crave power, wealth, or beauty. I excel in both literary and military arts. I can become a better emperor than my father or the Crown Prince. The world needs me. The people need me." "No. You are too arrogant." I didn't believe it. Am I arrogant? Do you even understand politics? Do you know what was happening across the 2 capitals and 13 provinces on the day of my coronation? The border troops in Qingju were in rebellion. Central Runan was struck by floods. Jin Cheng was suffering from famine. The emperor is senile. The Crown Prince is weak. They don't know how to solve these problems. But I do. I've rehearsed it thousands of times in my mind. Just waiting to appoint capable officials and implement my policies after ascending the throne. But because of you, I will never reach that day, and millions of people will remain trapped in dire suffering. I was deeply shaken. His words touched upon a level I had never considered. The people. Am I truly so selfish that I have affected the innocent? To be fair, Zhao Buqing does indeed seem more suited to be emperor than the Crown Prince. He is intelligent and diligent, quick to learn anything, and cold-blooded and ruthless, not trapped by love. The Crown Prince is a natural romantic, willing to risk everything for love. Because of my selfishness, Zhao Buqing is trapped in the cycle of reincarnation. Is this truly detrimental to countless millions of people? Change into this. Zhao Buqing tossed over a rose-red wide-sleeved pomegranate skirt embroidered with 100 immortals. "No, not here." I tried to refuse, but Zhao Buqing angrily said, "Change now. Unless you want me to tear your clothes off." My face flushed with heat and shame. I wept under his gaze as I removed my grey outer robe, revealing the pale lilac undergarments and snow-white arms. Tears pattered onto my lapel, and I couldn't control them. Zhao Buqing finally took mercy and averted his gaze. No longer looking at me, I changed into the new clothes, secretly resenting my own mediocrity and incompetence, forced to yield to the powerful. "Don't move." Zhao Buqing reached out his hand, not looking at me, yet accurately fastening the kingfisher feather knot tassel for me and smoothing out my 4-combination Rui cloud collar. Then he bent down to tie the brocade-woven pearl-studded satin ribbon adorned with dense pearls for me. From my angle, I could just see his dense, long black eyelashes when he lowered his head and eyes. So gentle that time seemed to freeze at this moment. Finally, he whispered softly, "Be good, do as I say, don't force me to threaten you." So that day in the Eastern Palace, Dressed in splendid attire and with exquisite makeup, I flawlessly crafted pine soot ink, then smiled and chatted cheerfully with the Crown Prince, taking the initiative to offer to play a piece on the qin. My skills were not refined, but the piece I chose was excellent. It was the lost qin score from the previous dynasty, Yangju West Slow. Zhao Boqing had gone to great lengths to find it and had once taught me note by note. Waves ripple at the heart of the water, the cold moon silent, thinking of the red peonies by the bridge, year after year, for whom do they bloom? The melody was clear and crisp, lingering in the air, sorrowful yet delicate and continuous. The Crown Prince was so moved that he shed tears. He personally came over to help me up, saying, "I have never met a woman as refined and virtuous as you, Miss He. I wonder if you would be willing to visit the Eastern Palace often to discuss the art of music with me." I saw the bright joy in his eyes. It hasn't reached the level of adoration, but it is the beginning of it. I've obtained what the previous 33 lifetimes couldn't, and this feeling is peculiar. It seems like joy, but more so, it's melancholy. I instinctively glanced at Zhao Baiqing not far away. He was watching us with a smile on his face, but his eyes held a deep, abysmal gloom. The Crown Prince's favor toward me grew increasingly obvious. He took me to the mountains and forests to seek out the reclusive master of the Guqin, brought me to the Chongwen Hall to copy qin scores from the northern and southern dynasties, and even invited me to drift on a boat admiring lotus flowers and to attend the Winding Stream Poetry Banquet. Rumors spread throughout the capital that I was soon to be betrothed. Fools have fortune. Who would have thought that the silly little daughter of the He family would suddenly become enlightened, knowing how to dress up and excelling in talents? Perhaps she really is the future crown princess. They don't know that I have a love guru behind me. Every time I met the crown prince, my attire, makeup, hairstyle, and manner of speaking were all meticulously designed by Zhao Boqing. Now, to avoid arousing the crown prince's suspicion, Zhao Boqing no longer meets with me directly in the palace. He always sends his attendant to deliver letters to me, specifying what I should wear, what to say, and which topics to subtly introduce to pique the crown prince's interest. For tomorrow's summer palace banquet, his instructions were: wear a mist green gauze dress, tie it with a sky blue silk soft smoke sash, style your hair in a falling fairy bun, and perform the whirling dance at the banquet. Afraid I might be too slow to understand, he drew a picture of me on the letter. Delicate features, a green dress, and dark hair. I couldn't help but smile. While trying on the clothes, my sister happened to see me. She came over, touched the sleeve, and said with sparkling eyes full of envy, "Such a beautiful design and such comfortable fabric. You've truly met a noble person in the palace, little sister." To keep my family from worrying, every time I brought back new clothes from Zhao Baiqing, I lied and said it was a reward from a palace consort for my excellent ink-making skills. Seeing how much my sister liked it, I immediately took it off and gave it to her. The next day, I wore a gown of violet cloud-patterned satin with gold thread floral embroidery to enter the palace. Unfortunately, I happened to encounter Zhao Baiqing on the palace pathway. Seeing that I wasn't wearing what he had specified, his brow immediately furrowed with anger as he quietly demanded, "You're being disobedient again." Thinking quickly, I immediately lied and said, "It's because of that soft smoke silk waistband. I didn't know how to tie it. Without your help, I truly couldn't." Zhao Boqing sneered. "Could it be that without me, you'd never be able to tie your belt properly in this lifetime?" I said seriously, "Yes, without you, I couldn't tie it properly." Zhao Boqing's footsteps halted. I looked directly into his eyes and whispered, "Not only couldn't I tie my belt properly, but I also couldn't apply my eyebrows well, nor dance gracefully." "Stop talking." Zhao Boqing abruptly cut me off, turned his head, and quickly walked away. I watched his retreating figure, feeling puzzled in my heart. This was the sense of temptation he taught me, how to pretend to be innocent and naive, to say things with hidden meanings that stir people's hearts. Why is it that when I put it into practice today, he became so unhappy? But it doesn't matter, my goal was achieved. He won't question why I wore the wrong clothes today. At the palace banquet, my dance astonished everyone. After stepping down from the jade platform, the crown prince took my hand, and Yu Feiling's face turned very unpleasant. She called out loudly to her maids, Xiao Fang, Xiao Tuo, be quick with your work. Ah, Miss, his given name is Xiao Yuan, which sounds quite similar to my maid's names. I wonder why Miss he has such a humble name. True daughters of noble families all take their names from the works of great poets. She was subtly mocking my low status. I was tongue-tied. Well, my father said that on the day I was born, the lotus leaves in the pond were especially round. So, Yu Feiling burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, Miss he is so silly. No wonder she's nicknamed Dummy in the princess's residence. My face flushed with embarrassment, and I racked my brains trying to figure out how to retort. At that moment, Zhao Buqing let out a very abrupt cold laugh. The daughter of a Hanlin scholar must be well read in poetry and literature. Surely you know Du Zimei's line, round lotus leaves float on small leaves. Fine wheat sheds light flowers. The greatest truths are the simplest. What's wrong with a simple name? Yu Feiling raised her head. The seventh prince makes a valid point, however. A name is merely an external thing. A woman of profound learning must come from a family of scholars to be cultivated. While some women only know how to play the qin, dance, and seduce men, their behavior is no different from that of courtesans in brothels, truly unfit for refined company. I was furious and could sense that the crown prince was also enraged. He tightly gripped my hand but remained silent. I couldn't help but feel disappointed. The crown prince is benevolent and gentle, but he is weak and lacks courage. On the other end, Zhao Buqing was confronting Yu Feiling head-on, defending me implicitly and explicitly in their exchange. Miss Yu, you never go 3 sentences without mentioning family background and social status. It seems that's the only thing you take pride in. In your eyes, ability and character are worthless. If that's the case, what is the purpose of the imperial examinations? Are you questioning the national policy of valuing talent regardless of background? I didn't. That's not what I meant. Yu Feiling's face flushed red. Zhao Baiqing raised an eyebrow and said, "Oh, then what does Miss Yu mean? You always speak in such a roundabout way. If you don't make yourself clear, others might think you're insinuating something, no different from those gossipy women." Yu Feiling suddenly stood up, her voice trembling with tears as she asked, "Why does the seventh prince always speak up for He Xiao Yuan? Could it be that you like her too?" After the palace banquet, Zhao Baiqing distanced himself from me even more. Yu Feiling's reckless questioning completely shattered our relationship. He now avoids me like the plague, as if afraid I might tarnish his lifelong reputation of keeping women at a distance. Another person who distanced herself from me was Princess Yunfang. She was very close to Yu Feiling and felt deeply indignant on her behalf. A few years ago, the Crown Prince and Feiling were childhood sweethearts. He Xiao Yuan, what right do you have to barge in and disrupt things? I wanted to say I didn't want this either, that I was forced into it by Zhao Baiqing. But who would believe such a bizarre tale of being bound by 34 lifetimes of fate? Princess Yunfang no longer allows me to be her study companion, and she threw all the scented ink sticks I carefully crafted for her into the filthy ditch. This is a great humiliation to me, yet I do not blame her. Everyone has their own destiny. Some flourish while others wither, and gains and losses are hard to measure. Having been reborn so many times, I already know her future fate. Next year, she will have her wish fulfilled and marry Fu Yang. However, after the marriage, Fu Yang kept a concubine. Princess Yunfang had the concubine whipped to death, causing Fu Yang to turn against her. Their daily conflicts created constant turmoil, making them the laughingstock of the capital. As for Yu Feiling, I don't blame her either. I took away the position of crown princess that originally belonged to her. Zhao Junyao has decided to marry me. He has already requested the emperor to issue an imperial decree, appointing me as crown princess. Everything happened so fast. My family suddenly enjoyed the kind of adoration that was like adding fuel to the fire and embroidering flowers on brocade. Numerous ministers vied to befriend my father, and countless precious medicinal herbs were continuously sent to our home. It wasn't until this lifetime that I realized the immense power of authority, which could obtain things that money couldn't buy. My parents' and elder sister's illnesses showed obvious improvement, even though tuberculosis couldn't be completely cured. Their daily reliance on priceless medicinal herbs could still prolong their lives. I have finally obtained everything I once longed for but could not have: the prince's love, the safety of my family. Yet my heart feels empty. It seems I have gained much, but at the same time, I have lost much as well. What have I lost? I do not know, until this day, when Zhao Junyao mysteriously said, "I want to take you to the brothel before the wedding to see the charm of the courtesan." My heart finally came alive. "What, Your Highness, are you not joking?" I asked. Zhao Junyao laughed and said, "I've long heard that the courtesan Mu Tingting is skilled in playing the guqin and dancing, much like you, Xiao Yuan. I've always been curious about her. Seeing is believing. Let's go take a look together tonight." I had only one thought: it's over. He is bound to fall in love with Mu Tingting. That evening, both Zhao Junyao and I dressed in the attire of ordinary noble gentlemen. Taking a few plainclothes attendants with us to the brothel, Chang'an Street was brilliantly lit, with countless pearls and splendid silks shimmering in the distance, bustling with pedestrians. In the dimly lit corner, I caught a glimpse of Zhao Baiqing, clad in black martial attire, swiftly passing by. I had long suspected that he had planted spies around Zhao Junyao, keeping close tabs on our movements, but I never expected him to follow us in person. There were too many people around, brushing shoulders and jostling. And after a moment of distraction, I lost Zhao Junyao in the crowd. My wrist was grabbed by a strong force and dragged into the darkness. It was Zhao Baiqing. "Why didn't you stop, Zhao Junyao? Aren't you afraid Mu Tingting will replace you?" "I'm afraid, but if they don't meet, I'll also be afraid. As long as she exists in this world, Zhao Junyao will always have the possibility of falling in love with her. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in constant anxiety, hoping they'll never cross paths. It's better to face it bravely now." I was about to explain, but Zhao Baiqing covered my mouth. "Don't say it. I know it's because you're weak. I'll go kill Mu Tingting right now to eliminate the threat once and for all." "Don't go." I grabbed Zhao Baiqing's sleeve. "She's innocent. I absolutely refuse to see anyone die because of me." Zhao Baiqing wouldn't listen. He looked up at the top floor of the brothel where the courtesan was. His phoenix eyes filled with murderous intent, gleaming unnervingly bright. "Stay right here and don't move. When people start dying later, panicked pedestrians rushing to escape will create a crowded stampede, and it's easy to get trampled. No, you're not allowed to go. Mu Tingting hasn't committed any crime. You can't kill her." Zhao Baiqing gave a sinister smile. "In my previous life, and the life before that, haven't I killed enough people? One more won't make a difference." His words left me speechless. Yes, after spending so much time with him, I almost forgot he's a ruthless killer who doesn't blink an eye. "No, I don't care about past lives. In this life, you can be a good person." I firmly grasped his sword-holding hand. Zhao Baiqing seemed to have heard a great joke. "Are you sick? If you're not a bodhisattva, why act so merciful? Killing her benefits both of us. Don't you love the crown prince the most? Her existence is a threat to you." "No, that's not it." I spoke in panic, and in this critical moment, a sudden inspiration struck me. "I don't love the crown prince anymore. Truly I don't." "Then who do you love?" Zhao Baiqing's dark, bright phoenix eyes closed in on me, so close that our breaths mingled, and I could feel the tips of his hair brushing against my cheek. With a sudden bang, Fireworks bloomed in the sky, their myriad colors reflected in his pupils. Amid the roaring fireworks, I silently mouthed a single word, you. Time seemed to stand still for a long while, with only the dazzling, ever-changing lights playing across his face. The next moment, the world spun around as he pinned me against the cold brick wall, the blade of his sword pressed against my neck. You're lying again. This time it's not a lie. It really isn't. I hurriedly explained. We've been through so much together. I don't believe we have no feelings for each other. I truly have no feelings for you. Zhao Baiqing's voice was cold. Then why have you been so good to me? Why did you defend me in front of you, Fei Lin? I'm clearly so worthless, so foolish. Everyone looks down on me. She wasn't wrong. I'm inferior to her in every way. You surpass her in every way, Zhao Baiqing said angrily. I taught you how to apply your makeup. I designed your clothes. I taught you how to dance. I taught you how to play the zither. I have never poured so much effort into anyone. Whoever dares to say you're not good is insulting me. His voice abruptly stopped, because he too realized the loophole in his words. If he had no feelings for me, why would he be so angry? I don't care for beauty. No woman can tie me down, not even you. I treat you as a pawn. I've been using you all along. You're stupid. You don't deserve me. Zhao Baiqing flew into a rage, grabbing my neck. Don't you dare keep saying okay. Did you hear what I said? I don't love you, not even a little bit. Tears welled up in my eyes as I gazed at him. Okay. The moment the words left my lips, my thoughts and feelings became crystal clear. I understand. I've truly changed my heart. I don't love the Crown Prince as much as I imagined, but I haven't truly fallen in love with Zhao Baiqing either. Half real, half fake. Partly true and partly illusion. My main purpose was to keep him at bay. At this moment, Zhao Baiqing seemed to truly fall into my lie. His eyes filled with a complex mix of emotions as he repeatedly insisted that he didn't love me. Okay, I believe you. I really do, I said, tears streaming down my face, while still clutching his sleeve, refusing to let him go. The fireworks had completely stopped, plunging the surroundings into darkness. Like every long and drawn-out war, there is always a moment of quiet truce. Zhao Baiqing slowly lowered his head as if in a nightmare, his forehead touching mine. The tip of his nose meeting the tip of mine, my tears mingled with his sweat. I've taught you many things, makeup, hairstyles, clothing, talents, manners, but I haven't taught you how to kiss. I was stunned, feeling him gently press his lips against mine, a touch of moisture, a hint of tingling numbness. Like an injured crane pecking at a soft flower, its petals falling onto the water, creating ripples that spread in endless, circular waves. This moment of indulgence was the only distraction in his otherwise rigorous life. He quickly snapped out of it, pushing me away abruptly. I don't love you. The warmth of his lips still lingered on mine. I once told you that I had your birth chart analyzed by the imperial astrologer. He said our destinies are bound together. Yes, I remember. Actually, it's not just you and me, but also Zhao Junyao. Zhao Baiqing took my hand and began drawing on my palm. He was exceptionally clever, explaining the intricate relationships between us in just a few words. Zhao Junyao's destiny star is located in the Kang constellation. It is about to extinguish. You are his companion star, and I am the Pleiades constellation destined to replace him. When he falls, I rise. But suddenly, a meteor struck him, causing him to fall into my orbit. He, you, and I, our three stars began moving in an extremely complex pattern, cycling over and over again, corresponding to the continuous rebirths in reality. Only when you take the initiative to return to the correct path and continue being his sole companion star will my trajectory be able to return to normal. So in this life, I must be with Zhao Junyao. Only then can we break free from the cycle of rebirth. Zhao Baiqing declared, the Pleiades will be the brightest star in the sky for the next few decades. I am the destined king of the mortal world, born to rule over all. If I do not return to my rightful path, the world will descend into chaos." He raised his sword once more, its blade shimmering with a cold gleam, and pointed it directly at the brothel. "All who stand in the way of my ascension to the throne must die." He still intended to kill Mu Tingting. "Don't go." I immediately revealed the dagger hidden in my sleeve. "There's actually another way. And that is my death." I placed the dagger against my neck. "If I die, the complex 3-star motion will stop, and you can escape the cycle of repeated rebirths." "No." Zhao Buqing rushed forward in a single stride and snatched the dagger from me. I sneered. "If it doesn't work this time, there will be a next time, I swear. In this life, if you dare to kill innocent people indiscriminately, I will immediately—" "Shut up." Zhao Buqing covered my mouth. He painfully pressed his lips to the back of his hand, kissing my lips just a palm's breadth away. Why must you change me? Because you changed me too." "A taste of your own medicine." My tears fell on the back of his hand. Suddenly, Zhao Juanyao's call rang out not far away. "Xiao Yuan, where are you?" Zhao Buqing immediately withdrew his hand and retreated into the deep darkness. "Xiao Yuan." Zhao Junyao was getting closer and closer. I quickly wiped away my tears and stepped out of the darkness to meet him. "Xiao Yuan, you're here. I've been looking for you for so long." Zhao Junyao stood in the light, his white robe spotless, just like the man himself, benevolent, upright, and without a trace of shadow. "Have you seen Mu Tingting?" I asked. Zhao Junyao smiled. "Of course, when I saw her, she was dancing. She danced beautifully, played the qin excellently, and her appearance could be called a peerless beauty in the mortal world." He had a look of infatuation on his face, and I thought to myself, indeed, he has fallen in love with her. But Zhao Junyao suddenly embraced me. I almost fell in love with her at first sight, but my heart has long been filled with Xiao Yuan, so full that there is no room for anyone else. At that moment, my heart was overwhelmed with guilt, and I knew deep down that I had wronged his sincere feelings. For 33 lifetimes, when I wanted love, I could never have it. In this life, when I no longer desire it, I have finally received it. My heart for Xiao Yuan, heaven and earth can bear witness. In this life, in this world, apart from death parting us, there shall be no separation in life. I was so shocked that I was speechless for a long time. Zhao Junyao possessed the handsome face I loved the most, the man of my dreams through countless nights. Yet when he promised me a lifetime, deep within my heart, it felt like an empty city covered in snow. I thought of the cold and ruthless Zhao Buqing, of the common people I had indirectly failed, of my family who had already shown significant improvement. Why was I still not content? I should be content. So I said, "All right." 3 years later, Zhao Baiqing usurped the throne and ascended as emperor. In this lifetime, he did not shed blood in the palace. The emperor was imprisoned, Zhao Junyao was bound, and I, along with my son, had not died. "He looks very much like you," Zhao Buqing remarked. Inside the Eastern Palace, maids and eunuchs knelt trembling all over the floor. Wherever Zhao Buqing went, countless people shouted in welcome to the new emperor.
Mountains were bleak and desolate. Fu Yang and the chief eunuch ascended the Longevity Hill, where they read the imperial decree before the temple. My son, Zhao Xiaocheng, was adopted by Zhao Buqing and became the crown prince. I cannot say I was completely unprepared. Since the beginning of spring, court officials had been fiercely debating the issue of the imperial heir. Princes from various regions were growing restless, and the guards at the foot of Longevity Mountain had increased 7- or 8-fold compared to previous years. At that time, Zhao Buqing was already on guard against anyone targeting us. Now he has openly welcomed us into the palace. While confined to his sickbed, Zhao Baiqing often summoned Xiao Cheng, taking him along to review memorials. He has never seen me. I am someone who goes with the flow, strolling casually through the palace, watching the young palace maids coming and going. They are lively and radiant, truly beautiful, and I can't help but feel that I have grown old. "Madam, His Majesty summons you for a conversation." The eunuch suddenly called out to me. I quickly followed him towards the Qianqing palace, feeling as though my eyebrows were drawn crooked today and that wrinkles had appeared at the corners of my eyes. As I stepped into Zhao Baiqing's bedchamber, a heavy scent of medicine instantly assailed me, and the atmosphere was stagnant and solemn. Zhao Baiqing sat inside the bed, the curtains drawn low, completely obscuring him from view. I am in the light, he is in the shadows, he can see me clearly, but I cannot see him at all. Xiao Yuan, he called me by my childhood name. It had been so many years since anyone called me that. I froze for a moment, then knelt and bowed to the ground. Your servant is here. A long silence followed. When Zhao Baiqing spoke again, his voice was hoarse and stern as he asked about Xiao Cheng's daily routines. I answered each question formally and precisely. Does Lady He usually persist in reading, Your Majesty? Yes. Zhao Baiqing asked me several questions about statecraft, and after careful consideration, I answered earnestly. He seemed to chuckle softly. Your wealth of knowledge truly makes you a walking library. I couldn't help but laugh too, and in that moment, it felt as if we had returned to many years ago. He taught me Yangju West slow, but I could never master it. I cried and cried. And he used countless handkerchiefs to dry my tears, teaching me over and over again. When I finally managed to play 10 notes in a row, he nearly jumped up and clapped his hands in delight. Excellent, excellent. It sounds absolutely divine. Truly, a reincarnation of Zhongziki, a rebirth of Euboea. Lady He, Zhao Baiqing coughed violently for a while before continuing intermittently. You too possess the talent to bring stability to the nation and secure the state. With this, I am at ease. You shall become the Empress Dowager of our dynasty and assist little Cheng in becoming a good emperor. His coughing grew increasingly severe, and my entire body tensed up, reaching the peak of nervousness. Suddenly, blood splattered across the azure canopy. I immediately scrambled up and rushed over, while the imperial physicians and eunuchs waiting on both sides also charged forward. Let her go. Don't let her see me, Zhao Baiqing cried out hoarsely. The pale blue bed curtains shaking violently, the eunuch immediately urged me to leave. Lady He, His Majesty does not wish for you to. Please leave, Lady He. I retreated outside his bedchamber. The night was deep, a single lamp flickered like a bean in the palace corridor, and all the stars in the sky were dim and blurred. I stood there in a daze for a long time, as if devoid of emotion, my entire being lost and bewildered, yet my tears were falling. It is always like this, my body senses emotions before my heart does. Behind me, the imperial physicians and palace attendants hurried in and out, stirring up a bleak, biting wind. Suddenly, an old man with a white beard staggered over, reeking of alcohol. His murky eyes cleared the moment they landed on me. You, the companion star of Kangsu, I exclaimed in surprise. You are the state preceptor. The state preceptor laughed wildly, clapping his hands and shouting, Destiny, destiny. I grabbed his shoulders and demanded fiercely, what will happen to His Majesty? Will he live forever? The imperial astrologer danced with excitement, pulling me along. Come, come. I followed him involuntarily, passing through one palace gate after another, ascending the star observation platform. Dark clouds covered the sky, obscuring the stars and moon. I asked the imperial astrologer what he wanted to show me, and he pointed to 3 objects within the 64 hexagrams formation. Look. These are the burial objects designated by His Majesty. He ordered me to perform rituals to ensure these 3 items must accompany him through rebirth. Another rebirth means a new cycle, going to a new world. Whether he becomes a human or a dog remains uncertain. Do not speak falsely, I cried out in anger, tears streaming down my face and falling onto the ritual array. I quickly knelt down to wipe away that tear, afraid it might disturb Zhao Baiqing's path to reincarnation. As I drew closer, I could clearly see the 3 burial objects, the sword that pacified the 6 directions and secured the nation, the imperial brush used to annotate memorials from across the land, and an inkstick. It was a round, aged inkstick, exuding a faint, lingering scent of oranges, with 2 clumsily carved characters on it, Cheng Yin. At that very moment, the golden bell within the palace solemnly struck 9 times. its vibrations rippling from the hall of heavenly purity to the hall of supreme harmony. From the gate of eternal peace to the longevity hill, each toll shattered the demons and monsters of this world, its lingering echoes dissipating into the chaotic sky. Before 10 could arrive, 9 had ended, the true dragon perished, the son of heaven passed away, Zhao Baiqing was gone. At this moment, my tears burst forth like a broken dam. The state priest danced with the wind, chanting incantations. The Pleiades descend, the next star shines bright. With companion stars bringing endless blessings and fortune, my tears flow ceaselessly, yet my heart remains clear and resolute. Rising to my feet, I gaze upon the vast mountains and rivers stretching into the distance. I understand that I must inherit Zhao Baiqing's legacy, assist Xiao Cheng in ascending the throne, and continue his love for this land and its people. The end.